Hey everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting for another episode of the Whatever Report. Happy to have you guys hang out with me on a Sunday. I have a few ideas I want to talk about tonight, but not a huge agenda or anything. I do want to talk a little Loki a little later. I'm going to promote a couple things. I showed off all my books I picked up this week yesterday because that was my haul. So those are all put away. So I'm not gonna run back through those, but yeah, so we'll just hang out, talk a little bit, see what's going on. We got Luis in the house. What's going on? John is hanging out. I'm surprised John didn't just hop in because we talked earlier about some stuff, and so he has the link from earlier. Louis, what is happening? Demuts. John McCrum, what's going on? Both Johns are in the house. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for joining me. So we started a little early, so I would have a little extra time between this and when we did D&D, and I'm not 100% sure we're going to do D&D on Will's channel. Yeah, it looks like we're probably not. You should... Definitely way better than anything I'm going to put out right now. So, and based on, I'm actually watching the Instagram chat, it looks like maybe there won't be D&D tonight. So we'll see. This means I didn't have to do this early, but oh well. That'll give me some time to do some other stuff this evening. So nothing wrong with that. What was I going to say? I don't know. I'm just blanked on it. I was somewhere I was going to go. Okay, yeah, stuff coming up. You should check the chat. You should go check the Instagram chat just for the record. Because we already lost one and we appear to have lost maybe two more. So it might just be yeah. So anyway, I'll let Big Will and John and the rest of the crew figure that out. Not exactly what I had planned for my show tonight, but talking about our D&D game. So the things we got coming up that's not related to that. Tomorrow night on this guy's channel, I'm sure a couple of you have heard of this guy. He's occasionally on YouTube. He occasionally does shows on his channel and like 95 other channels that I think he appears on a regular basis. Yeah, and with Disco having stepped back, or maybe the hardest working man in comic YouTube now. It's probably Reggie. There he is. What's going on?
Well, apparently we're not doing D&D, so I'll figure out how to do this instead.
There you go.
How's it going?
Oh, Jeffrey. So, Jeffrey, this is John. He's new. Hasn't been around for very long. So yeah, what's going on, man?
Nothing. I was just watching the last con a little bit ago. I was catching back up on my.
I need to rewatch it again.
It's like my 10th. I had forgotten that you put that link on the bottom of every single Whatever report.
Yeah, it's always there.
It's always there. Yeah.
Well, because I just copy and paste that description every time, and it's just like,
yeah. So I was like here earlier. I was clicking the like. I was like, hey, I wonder if we got it. Oh yeah, it's the one.
So. But yeah, tomorrow there's something happening on your channel.
Right.
You want to talk about it for a second? That's what I was going to talk about.
Yeah, we're hosting the second event in the Comic Gories Olympics. We're doing the long distance run, and we've got some incredible competitors. Each selected their own single volume run of comics, and they're only going to be able to play books from that run while they compete one against another in Comic Gories.
So, and I know what all the runs are, so I pick Comic Gories that have nothing to do with those runs.
Right, exactly. we had a ton of Batman. Because nobody picked Batman. Yeah,
Batman. So everything is Batman related.
So the competitors are Magic Lasso playing with Wonder Woman, unsurprisingly. Flashpoint Comics, unsurprisingly, playing with the Flash Volume 1.
Yeah.
But then we got Los playing with the Uncanny X-Men, which was a nice to see Los coming out.
Nice.
And we got Alex from AGH Comics, and he is playing, and this is the sly pick. He's going with Spectacular Spider-Man.
Spectacular Spider-Man.
Not even amazing. He went with spectacular.
It's crazy.
It's a wild pick, and I'm excited to see what books we get.
It should be interesting. So yeah. Later, Louie. Appreciate you stopping by for even a few minutes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's fun. I love that we're doing something a little different. So for the summer, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be a good time. I got that, and then Wednesday, and I am not even slightly prepared. I'm on the Knockout. Mr. Comics 89.
So what is the competition here?
It is Darth Vader versus Superman.
Before you tell me who you've got, who you're competing against.
I don't remember.
Okay, all right. Okay. So Darth Vader versus Superman. I'm willing to bet that you would not rep Superman. So you're representing Darth.
Superman. No,
you're representing the Darth Vader over Superman.
Am.
That is a bold choice.
I'll be honest. So I probably should give this away before the thing, but looking at the list of characters, I felt like when I picked Vader, because a lot of characters were already taken, but I felt really good about 2/3 of the matchups.
Right.
Superman was one of the matchups I did not feel good about.
And is that your first round draw?
That's my first round draw.
Ouch. Ouch.
There's about 4 characters. I'm like, okay, if I avoid those 4 for a while, I should be okay.
Yikes.
And no, right off the bat. So we'll see. I'm gonna have to be creative.
That's hilarious.
Because that's not. Yeah, there were a few that I thought, okay, you could do some things. You could manipulate them physically. Like you could use the Force in some ways to affect their powers for a minute, long enough to kill them. Kill them.
Yeah.
Because all you gotta do is hit them once.
But Superman, that's a tough draw.
Superman, on the other hand,
can you get that green? Does the green lightsaber do anything?
Oh well, yeah. I need a kryptonite lightsaber.
Can you get a green lightsaber? That's
yeah.
That's fine.
I need Luke's lightsaber, not Vader's. So,
yeah.
Well, what does red do to him? It makes him not care and stuff, and
maybe he gets really apathetic.
Yeah. So, it's not the best matchup.
That's a tough one.
The Death Star. There you go. It's kyber crystal, same thing as kryptonite. That's what I'm going to say. So, welcome, Darth Lopez. Breaking news. So, yeah, not the matchup I was hoping for, but we'll see what I can do. I guess
that's a tough draw.
My appearance may be short-lived. Might be one and done on the Knockout. but we'll see. So otherwise, not a whole lot going on. I don't have anything. There's no intro scheduled this week. It just didn't kind of work out. All my shows kind of didn't work this week. So it's kind of nice.
Read up on Kanto for next week.
Yeah. A week from Tuesday, we are doing Kanto. Will be the next indie show, Volume 2.
There it is.
The Hollow Men. So I have not yet dug into this.
It's a quick read. I read it last week, obviously, in a fit of 900 other trades. But
what the real question is, John, what didn't you read last week?
Well, clearly not the rest of New Teen Titans. Man, Wolfman really is wordy. Yeah, those are slower reads.
Well, it was also a different time. Like you look at the books from that time, they're a lot more wordy than they are.
Well, I try to compare it to Claremont X-Men every time, just to be fair in consistency.
And Wolfman was even wordier than Claremont.
Way wordier. Yeah, definitely.
I guess,
but I'm enjoying it. I like certain of the characters on that team. I like a lot. Yeah. So, I think Raven is a very interesting character.
Underutilized, I feel like. It's interesting. They have gotten some run in recent years because they had the cartoon, and then they had this stupid cartoon. It's for 2-year-olds, and then they have the Titan shows get ready to start again. So they've gotten some run recently, but I do feel like in the comics they have not been used very well. DC again. If the character's name is not Batman, and I love Batman, DC has not done a great job with that.
Yeah, and that's why I do love the Batman character, even though I complain about what DC's been doing so much lately with Batman, and it hurts to do it, but I'm forcing myself not to buy anything with Batman as the main character because I want my money to show DC this is a bad business model. And so I'm putting money, it makes me happier to buy issue 4, 5, or 6 of like something else, Strange Adventures or whatever, because I feel like at least I'm putting my money where I think it should go. And I'm not going to reward a system that's like, hey, we got another Batman #1 this week. Hey, we got 2 more Batman #1s next week. Hey, we got another Batman miniseries the week after that.
Frustrating. I'm going to have to start.
Even though I hear many of them are good, I'm willing to basically say I'm not going to pay into this broken system.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you. It's really
what I liked about the New Teen Titans was like Dick Grayson got a really good story arc. I think he's a far better Cyclops than Cyclops. It's like he is legitimately a better, more interesting Cyclops and is a perfect leader character for that team.
He's a much better leader.
When you compare it that way, that's kind of what I was looking at. And Beast Boy is not as good a Wolverine as Wolverine.
No, not even close.
Starfire and Raven try to fill the Jean Grey Storm roles, but I think Jean Grey and Storm are better, but just barely, because I do like the Storm and Raven. Starfire and Raven I like a lot.
Yeah, I think so. To me, Raven would be the Jean role, and like for me, I think Raven's more interesting than Jean. Like as a character, like as a person and a character, I think she's more interesting. I'll admit it's been a long time since I read some of that Claremont, the Dark Phoenix stuff.
Yeah,
I always felt like it was.
But she had a very short period of time, and then she was dead, and it was like, Raven kept going.
Yeah, and then so no, I need to go back and read them. I was gonna get those Titans books, I never did. Like they started coming out in the Omnis, and I didn't get them, and I'm kind of now you can't hardly find them. It's like, but. And
then you got Wally and you've got Cyborg instead of Colossus and Nightcrawler, right? Yeah. You have those guys, and that's a hit or miss because I really do like Wally West. Yeah. I think Cyborg was given way too much slang. It was like he's constantly way too slangy.
He was the token character at the time.
Yeah. So I do prefer Nightcrawler and Colossus. That's just my preference. Yeah. But those are pretty close. I think Cyborg the character has an interesting story. Yeah. And I do like Wally West as that version of the Flash, Flash, I think is interesting.
Yeah. It's just interesting that those were the 2 books of the time. Like of that period, those were the 2 big books for each of
and they had a ton in common. They really did have a lot in common. And there were definitely even story arc elements that were relatable. So I had been buying the trades for New Teen Titans because Marv Wolfman visits my LCS from time to time, and he signs the trades. All the ones on the shelves, he'll just sign them, and my LCS just sells them cover price. No price gouging or anything. And so I would go in, and if the next one I needed to purchase was signed, I would buy it. So I've got 1, 2, 3. And then I bought 7, which is the big. It has the volume that has Nightwing. He becomes Nightwing. It has
the Judas Contract.
Yeah, it has all the what we think of as the classic, most storylines. And so that one was signed, so I bought that one. But I need to end up getting 4, 5, and 6 at some point. But Marv's, he's getting older, and so right now is not a great time for him to be coming out and signing things. I think he's a little more cautious.
Well, he should be. So I didn't expect us to talk about 80s Titans.
Sorry. I was just mentioning, I've been reading a ton, and that's the one. I'm finishing volume 2. I got 1 issue left to read in that.
Nice. No, I need to go back and reread some of those. It's been a long time since I've read them. I really enjoyed. I haven't read all of the X-Men stuff, and I haven't read all of the Titan stuff. I'm not sure what issues I have. I've read Judas Contract. I've read the beginning part, but I don't think I've read all the way to Judas Contract.
And I think I always read New Teen Titans out of order. I would get an issue and I'd read that issue, and I wouldn't necessarily. I never read them in order. Versus X-Men that I read because I was loving classic X-Men so much. there's a big chunk of X-Men that as a kid I read in order.
Yeah.
And then so I knew arcs better in order. And then eventually I got hooked into, in the early 200s of X-Men, buying X-Men monthly. And so I was reading. So this is a new experience to really read New Teen Titans
the way it was written.
Yeah. So there's a lot more I'm gaining. Plus, having just been reading the Omni X-Men with Justin, like I'm getting to experience reading both of them chronologically, almost back to back, and that's kind of a trip as well.
Yeah. I want to say
Polish guy. Yeah.
The first thing I think I read of Titans was the Judas Contract. Like,
okay.
Oh, you can read this. I think that was the first arc I read, which is like the culmination of that whole thing,
right? And
it's like, you really released the rest of the house.
The backstory is kind of important. And I always liked the Deathstroke character, and I had read the run that Wolfman did on Deathstroke, the original Deathstroke series, and I thought that was a great series. I liked that character a lot, and I liked when he interacted with Batman or with the New Teen Titans. I always really enjoyed that stuff. So it's fun to go back and kind of see the progression of his character.
Yeah. Well, I was going to make a joke, but Carly is not in here, so it really doesn't land to make a joke about Deathstroke being a ripoff of Deadpool.
I mean, yeah.
You might watch it on the rewrite.
I will say the funny thing about reading that character now is he seems so pompous. With the butler, and he's always putting his feet up. He seems like just so... when he takes the mask off, he's a totally different character. He's got the mask on, he seems like this cold-blooded killer, and then takes the mask off, and he's at like a debutante ball, and he's like putting his feet up, and he's got fancy clothes and servants, and it's a very odd. I never felt like that character's personalities matched very well, because the second he's got the mask on and he's facing down against the Justice League, he's killing everybody, and he's like, he's just a complete badass. And then he takes the mask off, and you're like, what's going on?
This guy cannot be that guy.
Yeah. There's not. It doesn't match as well as I would like.
I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. So, but I need to go back and get some of those.
I've derailed you.
What?
I've derailed you.
No, there's no rails. It's the whatever report. There are 0 rails. And now we're not playing D&D, so like, other than the fact that I still have to take the dog out one more time, I don't really have anything. Like, I could go for a while.
Evening, that was the main reason I jumped on. Was I was like, I think my evening just opened up, so I can do this and then cook dinner.
There you go. So let's talk. You want to talk Loki for a minute? Have you finished Loki?
We have. Yes. We brought our Roku on our vacation, so that I can plug it in at the cabin.
Loki, and then we'll do some other stuff. So I'm gonna put the banner up so that people know we're talking spoilers on Loki, so that if you're hopping in here, you know that we are talking spoilers.
It was funny during your show earlier today when you put the banner up, more people jumped in than left. Like the number went from 54 to 60 within like 30 seconds of you telling people that you were going to talk about spoilers. The number just like grew. So it was kind of fun.
That's surprising.
Yeah. I watched it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I thought people would be fleeing, but no.
I mean, I guess that would have to be mostly coincidence and nobody leaving, but
right.
Kind of.
I love the banner. So it's a very complicated banner. Very, very detailed.
Loki, Loki, spoiler.
It's just subtle.
All right. My thoughts on I'm just going to give my general thoughts on this.
Do it, yeah.
It's the one to me, like, which obviously, because they put that there's a season 2, that felt the most like a show. It felt like the most incomplete of a story. Like, it's third for me of the 3 that they've released so far.
As a series. Gotcha.
Like, the other 2 felt like events to me. Like, I felt like there was some filler in this. Even in the last episode. Like, I felt like filler. Am I completely crazy, John? Or are you going to be like, you're nuts?
I will say that I'm probably agreeing with everything you're saying. Except my one critique would be the 5th episode of Loki, the one before this one, might have been better as an episode than the other shows. That one episode where he's stuck in the void world with all the other Lokis, and you get the amazing Richard E. Grant performance.
Yeah.
And all of that, and the great like cliffhanger ending of who's going to be in the castle. I think for me, that one episode by itself might have been better than all of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And in the sense of like, it was a better single episode than any single episode produced by the other two shows. However, the problem is when you lump all the other Loki episodes in as a whole, yes, it was weaker than the other two. I really did not like the sixth episode.
I'm trying to think of if there's an episode that stands out more than episode 5 on the other two, and nothing jumps immediately to mind that it was better. So I can't argue that point because episode 5 is really good.
It's superb, and Rich. I can't get enough Richard E. Grant, like glorious purpose. He's holding out his hands, and like he's got like tears in his eyes, and I was getting like emotional watching him in that.
Jeffrey and I are completely flipped on our takes, but that's
wow, Jeffrey, there you go. And I'm more in line with you as far as WandaVision was spectacular for me, just because of it challenged what I could really expect from those. Hey, I was just rewatching the last con.
So we restarted early. I started early because I thought we were playing D&D, and I need to give myself more time between. And then D&D got canceled just as I hit live. Like literally as I went live. So I'm like, all right, so yeah, TJ's gonna be mad because I'm off by the time he like joins in here. But
yeah,
I don't know what am I gonna do. So I would agree with that. I would also say episode 3 of Loki
is that the one when they're stuck on the planet together?
Yeah. To me, that was the worst episode of any that was made of any of the series so far. Like, I get that they were trying to get that they were bonding. It was poorly done, in my opinion. It was very poorly done. And I thought episode 6, for as much as I loved his performance, it was way too much exposition. It just was so slow. Like, I thought he was fantastic. Like
the actor who played
Jonathan
the villain.
I can't remember his name now, but somebody in the chat will fill me in on his name. I couldn't stand
he's talking about Wanda.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, that's why we all like different things. There's nothing wrong with that. Like,
it's why you might read Miles Morales and another person reads Thor, and because you like certain things, you know. And I will say, Falcon and the Winter Soldier doesn't get enough credit. I do think it was a very entertaining series and pushed a lot of social concepts that I think people were not expecting it to go after.
It did
and raise a lot of great race discussions.
It did. I think it pulled a few punches on that front, which it's Marvel and Disney, so that's not necessarily a surprise. But my biggest complaint about that is I did feel like it was very by the books Marvel. Like it was the one thing I will give Loki credit for, and I will give WandaVision credit for, is they pushed some boundaries. They tried some new things. They messed with it a little bit, like the formula, which I like. The other thing that holds me back on Loki is Loki is kind of weak throughout the whole thing. Like, it's not really, the story is not Loki. Like,
he doesn't get to do a whole lot. He's kind of just like tagging along with other people the whole time.
He's a vessel for telling the story because he gets caught up in these other events, but he doesn't drive any of the action or he doesn't drive any of the story in the entire series. He is a passenger.
Yeah.
And like there's no like the couple of times he tries to manipulate things, they completely get shut down instantly. Like he's a passenger. And that was a disappointment for me. Like if you're gonna make this show about him and you're gonna give him like, I'm not saying that he should have been like all his plans should have suddenly worked because he's Loki. They don't. But like,
yeah,
he should have been more active instead of just. I felt like he was completely a reactive character through the entire thing.
That totally makes sense to me. And the most entertaining performances for me were Mobius. I loved Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson was great. Yeah.
And of course, I keep saying Richard E. Grant. I think he was in that one episode, but he stole it for me. Several line deliveries, and then his ending was just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I think it's good. I think it opens up a lot of things. It does. I'll be honest. They're saying season 2. It felt like a mid-season finale. I mean, it was the first one that felt like a TV show, and that we got kind of a cliffhanger ending.
Right.
Like, oh, you got to come back for season 2 to see what happens. You got the classic TV kind of cliffhanger ending. It was a little too slow for me. Other than episode 5, like you said, episode 5 covered a ton of ground.
I mean, it was amazing what they packed into that. And if you look at all the things people are talking about, besides the villain reveal or whatever, all the things people are referencing as being their favorite stuff came, whether it's Crocodile Loki, Kid Loki, the fight of all the Lokis, the losing of the hand, the monster. I mean, everything that people love.
He has name dropped him like 5 times.
I love Richard E. Grant. I love him. So, I know exactly who Richard E. Grant is. And yes, we're good friends. We have tea every Tuesday.
But yeah, it was just, I feel like there was definitely some missed opportunities. I just felt like in the whole thing. I do think the reveal of this variant of Kang was well done. I think his performance on that, and the fact that you're going to get twisted versions every time you get him, like a different, and like he's a good enough actor, and I cannot think of his name right now. It's totally blanking, but he's a good enough actor that it's like, he's going to like be able to sell that.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know that I've seen him in a whole lot.
I can't even think of his name, so that it's like, I've seen
Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan Majors, yeah.
There you go.
But I don't know that I've seen him enough. It just like in a ton of stuff, but it just feels like he like strikes me as being somebody that's like.
So he was in Lovecraft Country. He was in The Five Bloods by Spike Lee. Let's see if I can find other stuff. I've never seen Lovecraft Country personally. Yeah, so. Last Black Man in San Francisco. Haven't seen any of that.
John and Richard E. have TT Thursdays or Tuesdays.
What did I do?
You have TT Tuesdays apparently with Richard E. But like, I don't know. I thought his performance was really, really well done. I'm looking to see.
Certainly not what I expected him to be.
No, and I look forward to seeing how he twists that going forward, because he's going to be variants. Like, well, he's Kang. Like, there was always going to be variants.
Well, I think it was a wise choice not to go down the road of deep voice threatening villain, because clearly Thanos did it. It's done. Yeah. Like that's the one. So why not go a slightly different route and give us a different note to play? And that was a fun alternative.
Definitely. So no, I'm looking forward to where they're going with it. I mean, I think I'll be curious to see if we get season 2 before we get Quantum Mania. I mean, I think we're going to get Multiverse of Madness before we get season 2. I'll be curious if they slide it in between the two.
So people are calling this the multiverse era of Marvel now?
Or they're now changed it from the Marvel Cinematic Universe to the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse or something.
MCM.
Basically, Feige and them have basically said what this means is now every Marvel-related movie you've ever seen is part of the multiverse.
Right.
They're all true. They all happen. So Blade with Wesley Snipes happened. The X-Men movies happened.
So like, Chris Evans has been both Captain America and John and
Tony Stark. He's been Fantastic Four movies. I would have put in like an exception.
All the iterations, yeah.
Daredevil with Ben Affleck is Marvel canon.
Harsh. But somehow for some reason they're recasting Luke Cage and Iron Fist right now.
Well, Iron Fist, yeah. That casting was like I didn't think that guy was a good actor when he was in Game of
No,
Thrones. He was terrible. Like
he was perfectly in that part. Like let him have that part. Like it's a very
Yeah.
small, random little part. But yeah, so we've got Quantum Mania, we've got Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and we've got Spider-Man with No Way Home.
No Way Home, which actually comes before
Which
Multiverse
comes
of Madness.
before both of those other two.
Yeah.
So all of these movies are now dealing with the splitting or splintering.
Yeah,
of
and we're getting the what
realities.
if, like next
And
month.
the what if, yeah.
The what if could be really fun. I'm hopeful that that could be just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think there's completely everybody can be brought back at this point.
Absolutely.
Like RDJ, they dropped a big enough stack of money, and suddenly we got Tony Stark again. He's just a different version.
Right. They're keeping him happy by putting him in other Disney. They're trying to put him in other movies in the meantime, and he's producing movies in the meantime as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, it's supposed to be based off of this universe, Jeffrey. Yeah. So the What If series is going to be based off the MCU, or now, what ifs from what happened in the MCU already. But that guy can't act. Like I get that it was poor, like it had other issues, but it didn't help that he can't act. He's terrible.
I mean,
but yeah, no, it definitely had other issues. So I would agree with that. It wasn't just his acting, but his acting was. Oof. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to where it's going. It was good. I enjoyed it. It just drug a little bit for me, and I didn't like that he was a passenger and not really active in his own story that it was supposed to be. Like I said, I agree. Episode 5 was absolutely brilliant and fantastic. I think the reveal of the villain at the end of He Who Remains was really well done, but boy, it was a lot of work. You want to talk about wordy?
And there was a ton of people who felt like it was a great episode and just an absolute banger episode. And I felt like that final episode was just a kind of letdown. And I was just a little disappointed by it.
I mean, yeah, I just thought it was slow and they got to the big bad at the end, the castle at the end, and they didn't have anything to tell. Like they didn't have a full episode.
Right.
Like, I mean, that's what it felt like to me. It felt like they didn't have a full episode. Like,
that's fair.
I get the thing, like, there should have been something. I get the whole thing that, like, episode 5, you want to have that cliffhanger. Oh, they're going to face the bad guy. Like, he's right there. I felt like there should have been something between them actually getting to the room. Like,
right.
Or there should have been, yeah, like, I think that was really, there should have been something, there should have been another, like, we have the whole thing with Renslayer. She walks through the portal and then she doesn't appear. Like, and I realize they're setting up a season 2, so they don't have to tie all the loose ends together, but
right.
There should have been something else, I felt like.
Well, and I think that I had a similar frustration with the final episode of Winter Soldier, where I felt like, when did this become the U.S. agent TV show? And Bucky Barnes is like lost, right? And I felt like there was just something missing in the finale of that series. There was something missing here. That's my biggest complaint about the final episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier is that they lost the Winter Soldier. It became the Falcon and U.S. agent show.
Yeah.
And that's not what I signed on for. And I really wanted Bucky to have his arc, and he didn't get it.
That guy didn't earn his little redemption that they gave him. Mm-hmm. He didn't earn it.
Yeah.
Like that was my huge complaint about that show was suddenly everybody's okay with the fact that he killed somebody with the
shield
because he came back and killed more people.
Yeah.
I mean, what? It was
and that's really the only thing that hurt that show for me was that Bucky didn't get enough of his story, and it became the Falcon and U.S. agent show, which is not as interesting a show.
No, I would agree. Yeah, the John Walker thing,
I don't mind the story arc, and I don't mind the pieces that they were playing with, but he just got way too much screen time at the end, and Bucky didn't get near enough, and they could have saved some of the John Walker stuff and added more to the Bucky stuff. I think it would have been more impactful.
I agree, and because he didn't earn any of that yet. Like, that was the thing to me, is that show should have ended with him still in a bad place, like, and not suddenly thinking he was all okay. And yeah. Now I realize he's in a bad place because of who he's working for, but yeah. But so I talked Black Widow last week. What did you think of Black Widow? Have you seen it?
I did, yeah. I watched it. The girls and I watched it, and it's funny because I feel like it's the same as the Loki thing, where I feel like everybody's telling me that it's one of their favorite Marvel movies and they love it. And the girls and I and my wife, we all watch and we're like, this is easily one of my least favorite Marvel movies.
Really?
Period. Like I spent a lot of time kind of going through and kind of looking at what it was that was bothering me and where I would have ranked it. And it's, I think Marvel has its spectrum of like A movies, B movies, mediocre, and then downright bad. And this is right there between mediocre and downright bad for me.
Really?
And it's funny because I hear myself say it, and I hear people talking about Captain Marvel, right, and complaining about Carol Danvers and how much they hated that movie. And I've defended Captain Marvel. I really like Captain Marvel, and I like Captain Marvel more than Black Widow. Like, I legitimately, if you put them both in front of me right now and said which one do you want to watch, I'd pick Captain Marvel every single time.
I don't know about that. That would be, I don't know about that. And I like Captain Marvel more than most people too. But
so I just felt like, in the same way that we were saying that it became the U.S. Agent show, this became the Yelena show. And I was like, I don't particularly like this actress. I'm definitely in the minority.
I enjoy her performance. So
almost everybody loves her. And I was like, I want my Scarlet Johansson. I don't want this other. And it became, Scarlett Johansson became a side character in her own movie to me.
I didn't feel that, but like as much. I mean, I felt like they definitely pushed Yelena to the forefront in terms of like, because she's going to be what's happening going forward. But I didn't feel like they shortchanged Scarlett. To me, the part I loved about it was the two of them together, like their conversations and their interaction. I really enjoyed, and
I felt somewhat the opposite, which is like whenever, like that first scene when they find each other in the apartment, like that is the most annoying fight scene in, like, why are you fighting each other? Like, neither one of you want to fight right now. Like, why are you, both of you want to like call a truce, but you keep fighting, and it's a stupid, annoying. I totally agree with this, Big Will.
You are correct.
People hate that movie because they hate, which is hilarious, because the same people are like, oh, keep your politics out of my movie, but like they can't ignore her political stance, and that ruins the movie for them is like bonkers to me. Like, just enjoy the movie, like watch the movie, like you should, whatever.
No, the hypocrisy of that whole like, keep your politics out of my Marvel movies, and then because she has personal politics that aren't in that movie, they
can't enjoy the movie.
They can't go past it. It's like
so, but for me, I just felt like the fight scenes were poorly mapped out. They were poorly shot. They were really badly edited, and they were boring. Like I was bored in every fight scene.
Wow.
The fight scene between the two sisters is stupid. It feels like an issue of a comic where the two heroes fight only to realize at the end, oh wait, we're on the same side. What are we doing here? And you're like, it was a waste of the whole time they were fighting. I'm like, nobody's going to get hurt. So there's no stakes here. Like, this is a stupid fight scene. And they kept like coming close to stopping, but then they would go and do some other crazy flip, and somebody who would crash through another wall or window where you're like, okay, clearly they broke some bones there, right? And they're like, no, they're like totally fine. Yeah. And then finally somebody says, hey, truce. And then they actually stop for no good reason. I felt like there was no good reason to be fighting and no good reason to be stopping the fight. Like it was an annoying scene. And it went on like twice as long as it needed to go. Yeah. And then the final scene when they're free falling through space and like jumping off of wreckage is stupid. Like, I was just like, this scene makes no sense. There's no logic to any of it. No. It's like the old guy yelling at the government to stay out of their Medicare, right? Yeah. Hey, so for me, like, I was really disappointed by almost every layer of Black Widow. Now, I was moderately entertained, I suppose, and I would put it above the worst Marvel movies like Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Thor 2, like the really bad ones.
Yeah.
This is better than that. But it's not better than the mediocre ones for me. Like I would rather watch Age of Ultron. Give me Age of Ultron. I'll watch Age of Ultron all day. I think Age of Ultron stands up. And I really enjoy Age of Ultron. So
there's so many things that there's so many things in Age of Ultron that I just like. There's good moments in that movie, but man, there's so many things that I just cannot stand. But now here's the question: most of the people, your complaint about it is very different than everyone else.
Yeah, I have no problems at all with Taskmaster. None.
That's everything. Everybody else is just about Taskmaster,
and I don't care. Like that stuff, it doesn't bother. It's the same with Iron Man 3. I had no problems with what they did for Mandarin. My problems existed outside of the Mandarin. Because here's the thing with the people who are obsessed with the villain being movie comic accurate. Marvel always has a way of like coming back around. Yeah. When I saw Iron Man 3, I thought, oh, this is fun because it sets up the potential to do a real version of the Mandarin later on. Yeah. And everybody I said that to was like, that's stupid. Marvel's never going to do it. They ruined the Mandarin. I hate this movie. Yeah. And now here comes Shang-Chi with their authentic version of the Mandarin. And they're like, yeah, but it's not going to be as good. They still ruined Iron Man 3. I was like, no, if that character existed, if the mythology of the Mandarin existed, he'd be ancient. So what they did in that movie was reference the fact that this is in existence in the world. This Mandarin mythology exists, and that this villain capitalized on it by creating a fictitious version of the Mandarin. Yeah. I thought it was perfection, the way they executed it. And now it's going to pay off with Shang-Chi. Yeah. And for me, it's the same thing here with Taskmaster, right? Yeah. He created a robotic version of maybe a character that really existed at one point, or could exist in the future. And I don't care that they it's like, it's hashtag not my Taskmaster. Like, I don't care. No, I thought it was cool. And I thought it made way more sense than the comic character logistically. Yeah. That a guy can just like watch you fight and then learn how to beat you like a supercomputer. I don't know that I'd follow the logic of that, but a computer,
I'll be honest,
that could algorithm you, I think that makes a lot more sense. He doesn't talk. Obviously, you would want Taskmaster to talk, and I respect that. But he's creepier without the talking. Yeah. However, that's another thing that irks me about the movie is the fact that I was more creeped out when the Winter Soldier appeared in Winter Soldier with his mask than this Taskmaster. Okay. Yeah. This Taskmaster shows up, and it's just like, okay, I should be scared. I should be legitimately fearful. Yeah. Like I was when I saw the Winter Soldier putting bullets in Scarlett Johansson and flipping over trucks on the freeway and running through the downtown. Like I was like, this is cool and scary. Yeah. And I will credit the Russo brothers as better filmmakers, better editors and film and cinematographers. But more than that, they had a really great sound effect musical score accompanying him whenever he showed up. There was like this screechy scream sound whenever Winter Soldier appeared. And it was like, get your heart going. There was none of that. The filmmakers.
Sorry, I should have put Black Widow. We moved over. I had the Loki spoilers up, and then we moved over to Black Widow. Sorry about that, Burke.
So, like, I think that there was cinematically, there were significant elements missing to make an audience fearful of this Taskmaster, and they just kind of phoned it in, and I didn't care. Whenever he appeared, whenever the Taskmaster appeared, I was like, all right.
Well, hey,
it looks cool.
Like, I'm fine with them tweaking, because I'm sorry, but Taskmaster is a C-list character at best. Who gives a... I'm sorry. None of these people cared about Taskmaster until they bought his book to try to sell and flip. They're complaining. That's it. They paid too much for a book for a C-list character that they're now mad because it's not that exact version. Who gives a about the Taskmaster or ever did? Like, really? He's always been like third tier villain. Yeah. Like, because, like, honestly, if he truly had those fighting skills, he should be like A-class villain. Like, if he could truly do that, and he's never been that.
No.
because nobody cares.
Right.
And so I'm fine with them giving it a different take. It doesn't bother me at all. Like, now I will agree with you, and a part of that I think is a little bit of the weakness of the way they did Black Widow in the MCU, just period, because she's just a person. She hasn't had any kind of enhancement.
No.
Like, so he could not be, or in this case, she could not be as scary as Winter Soldier and have her fighting, because like she had no shot against Winter Soldier in that movie.
But I also think what made those fight sequences with her and him exciting was the fact that she was coming up with ways to balance the scales.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it was trickery with her phone or just she had ways to balance the scales, and that made the fights more interesting when you feel like the hero is outgunned. And they didn't do that here. I felt like she was never going to lose to the Taskmaster. And that's what they should have been instilling in me with that skull mask, is a sense of fear. And even that first fight on the bridge, I was like, this is kind of stupid. Yeah. Even to the point where she you see her open the briefcase. How does Taskmaster not see her opening the briefcase? Yeah. And then she closes it and then goes off the bridge, and Taskmaster grabs the briefcase like, haha, I've got the briefcase now. And then, oh wait, maybe I should open it and check. The fact that I saw her open it, that scene, I was like, God, come on. They're making the villain seem stupid. And then you're like, well, the hero is going to clearly win. There's no, you're not worried.
No. Well, I didn't have as many problems with that. I will say, he talks about Red Guardian was the best part. Red Guardian annoyed the fuck out of me.
Yeah, see, I didn't think he was funny. Everybody was like, oh my God, he's so funny. I was like, he's just kind of stupid.
He came off as stupid to me. Yeah.
And he definitely came. The worst part for me was everybody was like, oh, the family vibes I got from this with the family.
There was no family vibes.
No, because they were all so horrible.
Between them. I liked the interaction between
the sisters,
Elena and Natasha.
Of
I
the four,
that. You did not. I'm talking the conversation part.
Yeah.
But the vibes with Red Guardian and Mom, that didn't work for me at all.
He never appears fatherly or caring about them in any way.
He appears to care.
He happily gives them away, and when he sees them later on and realizes what they've gone through, he has zero remorse. I was genuinely annoyed that they expected us to feel some loving connection family-wise to this group, because I had none of that vibe.
To me, the thing with Rachel Weisz's character, which I don't think they did enough with, was she in the opening sequence, you can see that she's actually upset for the girls that this is the ending. Yeah. That they gotta go. Right. He's about time, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
And he has no attachment to them. None. And he demonstrates no attachment to them at all until suddenly at the end, other than they're breaking him out of prison, and he, to me, was I didn't think that worked at all. I thought it was too much. It was too far. I thought I get, let's make him kind of goofy, kind of funny. He thinks he's Captain America's nemesis, nemesis when he's not, and okay, that's fine. But it was just too much. It just did not work for me. I'm not saying it's a great movie. I wouldn't put it top tier Marvel by any stretch.
I've had people telling me that it is their top 3 Marvel movies.
No.
Way up there. It's and maybe I had high expectations, because for me it felt like a chance to give her own Winter Soldier movie. And Winter Soldier is my favorite MCU movie. And I expected,
if you compare it to Winter Soldier, it comes up short. But Winter Soldier is my favorite. It's not even close. Winter Soldier and then every other Marvel movie is down here for me.
Yes. Yeah.
And I actually think Winter Soldier is a better Black Widow movie than this one is.
Abso-freaking-lutely. 100%.
Other than the fact she doesn't get as much. But I thought to me, it's solidly in the middle somewhere. I'd have to rewatch it again to really truly rank it. But it's nowhere near as bad as you said, that lower class, and even some of the middle lower tier. To me, it goes ahead of for me. There's enough things that work for me that that it's in the I'm talking what is there, 23, 24?
They're nearing on 25 movies now.
So there's 24 movies. I would say 15-ish, just off the top of my head, probably like somewhere in there.
And I'm not far off of that. I think I'm going to put it in the 18-ish,
Okay.
19, but like I would definitely put it further down.
Yeah.
But mostly because they're the ones that are above it. Other people might hate, but I really can get a lot of joy out of. So Captain Marvel, Age of Ultron, I really enjoy those movies. But I would
put it very close.
I would honestly put it on the same level with some of the other number ones, meaning Thor number one and
I would put
Captain America number one. I would put it right near those movies.
Like I am the one person that I love First Avenger. To me, First Avenger works on so many levels. I probably rank First Avenger higher than any other person.
And that's the fun of this, right? That's the fun of it. We all have like our own preferences that way.
To me, like the best, and it's not even close, the best like character movies are the 3 Captain America movies.
Oh, yeah, no question. And
I think everybody puts First Avenger last, so that like a distant third. No, not for me. I actually like, in some ways, I like First Avenger better than Civil War. Like,
that's a hot take.
Like, to me, it's the best, better than Iron Man 1, the best of the origin stories.
Of the original team, guys.
Of all of them. Of all the...
Guardians number 1. Come on, man.
No.
Guardians 1 beats it for me.
Okay. All right. I'll give... Because I was thinking like the individual character. Like.
Okay, then that's not fair. Then it's a team. Okay.
Yeah, to me, like the team aspect changes that. But okay, I will give you Guardians number 1 is better.
Joey Bag of Sevens is laughing at me. What are you doing, Joey? The bottom 5. Let's see what Big Will's got. Bottom 5. Thor, Thor 2, Iron Man 3, Hulk, and I would put Thor, Iron Man 2. I really dislike Iron Man 2. I think
Iron Man 2 would rank below Iron Man 3 for me.
For me as well. Those are my bottom. I don't even know. Thor. I like Thor 1 enough to move it into the mediocre tier above it. I can get just enough joy out of it, but I do put Black Widow right there with Thor 1. I put it right there.
I would put like my bottom, like Thor 2 and Iron Man 2 are the worst to me. Those are the bottom 2. I actually enjoy, like Iron Man 3 goes probably a little higher. I think Thor 1 is kind of a mess.
It is.
I think Age of Ultron is a mess. I just like I just do not like Age of Ultron.
A lot of people don't. I don't know what it is about that movie. I get a ton of joy out of it.
Because I think there's some really fun moments. Mm-hmm. Like the Vision
action sequences are amazing, and I love the fights. I love them a ton. I can just watch that Hulk versus Iron Man sequence. I think it's great.
I think, like, to me, like the Vision stuff, like with the
hammer. I do love the Vision story arc. Yeah,
the Vision stuff is the only redeeming part of that whole movie. Yeah. Like, really?
Okay.
Like, just some of the stuff, the way they handle like Hulk and the way they handle Natasha and that, are like that's. Like I said, Winter Soldier is her best movie. That is the movie they treat her the worst in.
Yeah.
Like her characterization in that movie is awful.
You could blame Joss Whedon probably for that. Yeah. I will say, a Polish guy, I agree with you. I love Cap First Avenger until the third act. And that's where it really, I struggle with the end of that movie because it's like, I'm bored by the action sequences when he's actually Cap. But all the stuff leading up to him becoming Cap, all the stuff when he's learning how to be Cap, that stuff I love. And that stuff is, I feel like the first 2/3 of that movie are amazing. And they just it doesn't quite stick the landing for me in the third act. So I agree. That's what drags it down for me. Yeah. Versus for me, Civil War and Winter Soldier don't drag anywhere. There's not an ounce of fat on those movies for me.
To me, like, Winter Soldier or Civil War is just they just shoved two. Like, oh, well, let's add this, and we can put this in there, and let's shove this here on the bottom, and it's like,
I mean, it's an Avengers movie, to be true.
It is an Avengers movie, and
to call it a Captain America movie is almost.
I feel like that movie, if you cut every character out of that movie, like every Avengers related character other than Cap, Winter Soldier, Black Panther, Falcon, Iron Man, and Rhodey, it's a better movie.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Like, to me, I feel like
need
everybody
Spidey,
else,
you don't need Ant-Man. Yeah.
everybody else is extraneous. You don't need Spider-Man. You don't need Ant-Man. You don't
They're
need
for spectacle. They're
like,
for the airport scene.
I guess you need Widow just a little bit because she's kind of the go-between. Like,
if you know, one of the joys of watching Civil War again is watching her.
Yeah,
because
that's
I think
best movie.
That's a movie where they use her well, because every scene you see how she's reading the room and she knows who she has to lie to so that she can have Chris Evans or Captain America's back in the key moment at the airport when she needs to have it. Yeah. So the whole movie is setting her up for that. So you watch her when Iron Man first shows up to talk about why he's all for the Sokovia Accords.
Yeah.
And she's reading him and she's realizing I have to pretend to be on his side right now because Cap is not going to be on his side. She's reading the room so well that she's at the end of the movie, at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And then you watch her all through it and she's trying to avoid the drama she sees coming, but she's also preparing for it because she knows it's coming down.
Yeah.
I love the way they use her.
Her best two movies are the two Captain America movies. Like, it's not even close. Like, just the way they use her in those two movies are the best.
And I like Big Will's top 5 because I would say all of those would be in my top 7. Those movies are all, big hits for me.
Thor 3, that's
Avengers 1 would go down a little bit lower, so Avengers 1 might be closer to 7 or 8. But all the others I really love.
I don't think Avengers 1 holds up as well as people think it does. Like, not to say that it's bad. I think
I just give it the respect of being a movie that did something that like people didn't think was going to work.
Yeah.
And it works surprisingly well, considering all the things that people thought were like this. You can't bring these characters together like this. You can't make movies like this. This form doesn't work in this way. And it was exciting to see it play out.
Yeah.
But I will say, I know a lot of people hate Thor 3, and at my house, that is the MCU movie that gets watched more than any other. Like it's my wife's favorite. She'll watch it. She doesn't want to watch most movies again, but she'll watch Thor 3 again and again. It
so much fun. Yes. The movie to me that he's missing there that would be in my top 5 is, and I forgot about it when I said, because it's it is actually the best solo title individual character origin of first movie, and it's Black Panther.
I thought maybe that's what you're gonna say.
Yeah, it kind of blanked on that a while ago when I was saying that other thing. Like, to me, that's in my top 5. That's the movie he's missing.
And it feels more like an Avengers movie in some way too, just because the spectacle is on a whole other level, and there's a team element going on here, and it doesn't feel a team.
It's not it's not the Avengers.
It doesn't feel like a solo movie the same way that like Iron Man feels like a solo movie, or Thor 1 feels like a solo movie, right? Black Panther feels like this epic war movie. There's like big battles with huge armies and things going on.
To me, the top 3 are Winter Soldier, Guardians, Infinity War.
Yeah, that would be probably my top 3.
Those would be my top 3,
and Ragnarok would be right there.
Panther would probably be 4 or 5.
Carlito's here now. We can. We can go back to making our.
I need to go back. Go back and make my Deathstroke. Deadpool.
Good to see you, buddy. I was hanging out with him last night. It's awesome.
Nice. Oh yeah, you guys were doing the Richard Donner thing. I haven't had a chance to go back.
I was on with him and Comic Chop News talking about The Prestige, of course, talking about a Christopher Nolan movie. And then I did a Donner thing with the Bearded Conqueror. I'm still wearing the same shirt from last night.
Oh, so you didn't. It was just you and Bearded then on the Donner.
Yeah, just Bearded and I at on my channel, but then it was me and Dan and Carlito on Dan's channel.
The Prestige is so interesting because it's a movie that it's another one that it didn't do anything at the box office, right?
It was 50 million at the box office, Dan said, but then it made another 50 million, and this is in the US. And then it made another 50 million on DVD sales. So the DVD sales almost outpaced.
That's what I mean. It's kind of like Shawshank in the fact that, well, not as bad in the theater, but people found it after. People found it after. Because I never heard anything about that before I watched it. I don't remember where I was at. It was right after it came out, but it was on DVD, and I don't remember it being in the theater or anybody talking about it or nothing. And my friend was like, "You got to watch this," and I was like, "Holy crap, this is really good."
Carlito with a couple of hot takes in his most watched MCU movies: Iron Man 2
and Age of Ultron.
That might be the some hot takes there, my man. But the others, I mean, I do think Iron Man 1 is underappreciated.
Yeah, it's a top 10. It's a top.
That's
10.
Definitely a top 10.
Yeah, it's definitely top 10.
Infinity War is such a good flipping movie, and that's one that I tend to watch over and over again.
Like Infinity War is so good, and to me, it like Endgame has the moments, but Infinity War is a better movie.
Yeah,
like
and the moments in Endgame for me work because of Infinity War.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, it's home and streaming where it found a real audience. Yep. Totally valid list, but also wrong.
It's because that's what Carlito had said earlier. Totally valid list, but also wrong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He had said the exact same thing.
Yeah. Carlito does drink whiskey, which, you know, up to is the value of his opinion.
Yeah. So I in the long drive when we were heading to go camping, I was kind of trying to rank, and I felt like my MCU was very much like, you know, there's 5 at the top, there's like 5 at the bottom, and then there's like clusters of the mediocre ones in the middle, where it's like some that are a little lower and some that are a little higher, but there's a bigger mediocre chunk in the middle.
Yeah, there's a giant wash. Like, and for me, Black Widow is somewhere in the middle of the wash. I mean, it's not like it's not.
And
great.
I would like to see it again, but I put it near the bottom of the wash.
Yeah. Like, ask me on a different day and I'll order them differently. Just because it's like there's so many of them, it's hard to like really like organize them. But like, yeah, I mean, Winter Soldier. Like, if I'm going to watch a Marvel movie, which is so weird because it's not fun compared to some of the others, but if I'm going to watch a Marvel movie, I watch Winter Soldier. Like, if I just want to like sit down and watch one at random, like,
yeah,
like I could watch that every day. like some of the moments, and I also think, of course, they've been in like, even outside of like the MCU stuff, they've been in like 20 different movies together. I think her and Chris Evans like work so well together. I think this, like you talked about earlier, the setup of Winter Soldier, it's so perfectly well done. Like, they just set, like, as this, you know, I'm trying to think of like the movie that like the older movie that I want to compare, like just the menace of his presence.
Yeah.
Like, before you get the reveal, even though like as a comic fan,
we all knew. Yeah.
We know what the reveal is. Like, I would love to have seen that movie without knowing the reveal.
I saw it with a friend who was not a comic fan, and he was like, "Oh crap!" Like, so there was some shock, for him, and that is definitely something cool. I'm with you. I like
the TJ. I enjoyed that movie.
I definitely stand up for that movie. So that's me.
Yeah, and I think her performance is fine. I think like being a fan of Carol.
Free Brie. Joey Daga 7 says hashtag free Brie.
Free Brie. like being a fan of Carol in the comics, she's not easy to get along with.
No.
Like, she has attitude. She's rough around the edges. She's not. I thought her performance was fine. Like as Carol Danvers, I thought she did a good job. Like, because that's who Carol's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, she's a hard character to like, and
at times she can be a hard character to get along. Like, she's super loyal, like to the people that her, you know, and all these things. But like, she can be a pain in the ass. Even to them, she's a pain in the ass.
Too true.
And like, I thought her performance was great, and like in terms of hitting the character and everything else, and and I'm a fan of the character, but yeah, she's, you know, she's hard to get along with sometimes.
I will say, at our house, the ones that get watched the most are usually the lighter, funnier ones,
right? Which would normally be the case.
And it's what my girls and my wife prefer. So the Guardians movies tend to get watched a lot more. Ragnarok tends to get watched a lot more. Those are the ones they like. If a character dies or is seriously maimed, those are the ones my girls are like, I don't really want to see that one again.
Yeah.
And those are, I'm like, always, of course, I'm the one that's like, I want to see that one again. That was the heart-wrenching one.
It's like didn't care for the sarcasm, but she is like that's
She is pretty sarcastic.
like even in the comics, she's super sarcastic. Like I said, she's she's not easy to like deal with.
That might mean why some people would prefer to watch one movie over another and just be like,
Yeah.
no, I don't really care about that character.
Yeah.
It's hard to, her.
Yeah, if you don't
attitude is
like
hard
the
to
character,
watch.
if you don't like, also I'm a sarcastic pain in the ass, so I get it works for me.
That's funny. Yeah, because there's definitely been Marvel and DC characters I never really read because I was like, I don't really care for that character. Like that,
Yeah.
I never connected with Thor until I read the Jason Aaron run. Like that's what it's taken for me to really get into that character.
Thor was a character I cared nothing about before the Jason Aaron run. Yeah, and the only reason that my sister picked that up and was reading it, picked up the trades, and I was like, all right, let me try this. I've never read Thor. I don't care for Thor. He's kind of like the movies had not sold me on I should care for Thor. And I love that run. Like that run is so good.
And it's the same with Hulk and Immortal Hulk. Like I never cared for or read the Hulk, and the Immortal Hulk won me over, and I was far more interested. Admittedly, I only read 25 of the issues for the Immortal Hulk. I gave up on that, but it certainly made me care for the character a lot more and made me invested in it.
I don't remember what Carly was with me on, but I'll take it.
Jeffrey just cried inside. I'm sorry, Jeffrey.
Yeah, Jeffrey. I don't think Jeffrey's. He might still be here. He hadn't commented for a while. So, well, I'm gonna get out of here because I hear the dog is like, "Hey, are we supposed to go
Bathroom
out?"
time. Yeah.
It's time for me to do something. So I don't want to do it on my floor. So. I haven't seen me sarcastic anymore. Why that? So, I've been accused of being that too. Yeah, I've been accused of being that. There he is. He is still in here. No tears, just, from John not loving Hulk.
Just making talk. I'm having tacos tonight too, Jeffrey. Look at
Nice. I'm actually good. Well, I didn't have tacos tonight, but that's what I have for the rest of the week. My plan for this week. So
there you go.
All right, John, anything you want to pitch tomorrow night before we get out of here? What do you got
Tomorrow night, Comic Gories Olympics is back. We're playing the event known as the Long Distance Run. People on the show can only play comics from one single volume of comics, and we've got Volume 1 of Wonder Woman, Volume 1 of The Flash, the original Uncanny X-Men, and Spectacular Spider-Man. So we have 4 contestants, one for each one of those, and they're going head-to-head, and we will see what happens. Be there and vote tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. We got some good contestants. Thank you aggressively. Wednesday night, I will be on Mr. Comics 89, Matt's channel, playing the Knockout, Darth Vader against Superman. I might get knocked out rather quickly, but we'll see. Deadpool is certainly through next. Deadpool 100%. Carly is gonna like that.
He does regenerate. Like the guy loses an arm and then the arm grows back. He's kind of a hard guy to kill. That's the point.
Yeah, I don't think Deathstroke's gonna kill him, but
Deathstroke lost an eye. He still doesn't have it back.
Yeah. I think Deathstroke is probably the better fighter, but like Wade has a huge advantage.
Right. It's like was it in Fables when they're doing the wait, have you gotten to that part yet? Oh crap, I don't want to ruin anything from Fables that you haven't read yet. Nope, you haven't read that. I'm never sorry.
I haven't read any further than we've talked about. I haven't read any further than we've talked about. So I have not.
Really, Simeon's screaming at me, going, "Don't spoil it."
Yeah, so. I'm not. I haven't opened this yet. So
ooh, fancy.
So yeah,
Deathstroke has healing powers. 7 exclamation marks.
He does, but not at the same.
And where's that eyeball growing back? It's not growing back. The eyeball didn't come back.
Like Wade has literally been cut in half and grown back the bottom half. The question is, did he grow back? Is there 2 of him now? Did he grow back?
Yeah. Did the other half grow a top half? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the question. So.
Like he really is multiple man. We just didn't know it.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I want to thank you guys for hanging out. I want to thank John for hanging out with me. Always appreciate it, my friend. So, not a whole lot going on my channel this week. That's okay. We'll see. I might do something else too. Who knows? You know me. So I might just get bored and go live. So
another whatever report.
You know, whatever.
I still can't believe you've had 107 of these. It seems like you just started doing this series, and now we're here. You know, it's been more than 2 years.
Like 60 something when when Kachung renamed it.
Okay,
like when they gave me the name, it used to just be my Sunday live stream,
right?
And like for a long time, for the first year plus, and then like Kachung like called it the Whatever Report one night, and then that just stuck. So,
There you
but
go.
we've probably been Whatever Report for around 40 episodes. So
Amazing.
So yeah, so we just kind of do whatever. We talk about whatever. We spend, how much time do we spend talking about X-Men and Teen Titans from the 80s?
That's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah. Hey Terry, we're gonna get out of here, but thanks for swinging by. I appreciate it, and we will catch everybody later.